Welcome back to the Wargrove of Woe, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a quick overview of Legions of the First Prince. Now this is a very interesting army in that it does not have a battletome, and so it's kind of obscure and a little bit weird. It doesn't have a lot of the same rules that a lot of mainline armies have, and so it can be a little bit confusing for new players or people who are kind of looking into collecting Legions of the First Prince, or just kind of what does this army do and what should I be watching out for. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, right off the bat, what is Legions of the First Prince? So, Legions of the First Prince, or from this point on abbreviated to LOTFP, is an army that revolves around Be'lakor as well as Chaos Daemons Undivided. Legions of the First Prince was introduced in Broken Realms Be'lakor, and currently they have no battletome. Legions of the First Prince is a really flexible army, and it lets you have a lot of control over what you bring and how your army functions. Basically, it lets you put any unit you want in your army that has the demon keyword. So, with all of this put away, what rules does Legions of the First Prince have access to? So, they don't have any sub-factions. They have a set of allegiance abilities that they have access to, and then a spell, some command abilities, and some artifacts. Those we'll get to later. But for their army-wide abilities, if Be'lakor is within 18 inches of at least one of each of the basic demon units from the Chaos Gods, so Bloodletters, Horrors of Tzeentch, Plague Bears, and Demonettes, if he is within 18 inches of at least one of each of those, you reroll all hit rolls for Be'lakor. Be'lakor has an innate, or with the allegiance ability, Be'lakor has a 4-up wound/mortal wound pass off to one of the basic demon units. That's your Bloodthirster, Horrors, Plague Bears, and Demonettes. At the end of Battle Shock, if Be'lakor is your general and on the battlefield, on a 3-up, you return D3 models to each of your basic demon units, except Horrors. Horrors, you only return 1 because you know Horrors split on death. Additionally, you have an army-wide 6-up ward, and at the end of each of your movement phases, you roll 3d6, and on a 10 plus, you can summon one of the following based on the hero that does the summoning action. You can summon 10 Bloodletters, 5 Horrors, 10 Plague Bearers, or 10 Demonettes. Now, the summons are based off of the allegiance of which of the Chaos Gods did the summoning. So if you have a Khorne hero, you can summon Bloodletters. If you have a Tzeentch hero, you can summon Horrors, Nurgle, Plague Bears, Slaanesh, Demonettes. Be'lakor can summon any of them, as well as 6 Furies if you wanted to. Furies are not very good, so I would just recommend one of the others. As for spell, artifact, and command traits, you have some pretty interesting ones. There's only one spell in the lore for Legions of the First Prince, unfortunately, but it's not too bad. It has a casting value of 7, a 12-inch reach, and if it goes off, your unit fights with all melee weapons on death. For command traits, you have a few of them. You have +1 to summon units with the Allegiance abilities when the general attempts to summon, a 5+ ward for friendly Legions of the First Prince units wholly within 18, really powerful that one, or rerolling charge rolls for friendly Legions of the First Prince units wholly within 12. Artifacts, you have 2 really good ones and 1 rather ignorable one. A 5-up to hit with a melee weapon deals D3 mortal wounds. You can have rerolling saves for the bear, or you can have -1 bravery to enemy units within 9. So, with all of this in mind, what is the core of Legions of the First Prince army? So, Legions of the First Prince is great because you can pick and choose all of the best demon units you want from the Chaos armies. But generally speaking, the higher end Legions of the First Prince army consists of Be'lakor, Kairos Fateweaver, a greater demon of your choice, generally speaking a Bloodthirster of Incessant Rage, and a Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince of Khorne. With all of this in mind, how does Legions of the First Prince play? Legions of the First Prince is primarily a control army. An analogy that I always think of is, think of a blue deck in Magic the Gathering. Legions of the First Prince is also a very battle line focused army with the ability to constantly summon and bring back more little demons to help back up your big boy demons. But because you have such a wide range of demons that you can choose from, you can be very flexible in how you build your army, and that will affect how it plays. As a little closing remark, I'll go over my Legions of the First Prince army, as it is my most recent army project, and I've been having a blast building and playing with it, and it's kind of been an inspiration to put this video up for you guys. So for starters, the heroes in my army are Be'lakor. He is my general, and I'll explain that in a second. He has the Master's Command. Next I have Kairos Fateweaver, who also has the Master's Command. And then I have the Bloodthirster of Incessant Rage. He has the artifact Armor of the Pact. That is the rerolling saves when targeted by melee attacks. And then I have a Slave's Darkness Demon Prince with Khorne aligned, and I equip him with the Axe. For battle line, I have 10 Bloodletters, 10 Bloodletters, and then 10 Pinks. For other units, I have 3 Screamers of Tzeentch, and then I have 2 Endless Spells, the Umbral Spell Portal and the Emerald Life Swarm. So how do I generally expect this army to function? This is not necessarily the highest end of competitive armies. I think the Bloodletters generally are a letdown, but that's a personal choice. I like the way Bloodletters look, and I loved painting them, and so that was more of a personal choice. I wanted to include Bloodletters. The Screamers of Tzeentch act as my forward kind of harassment unit. They give me a lot of speed to put them where I want them, either to contest a forward objective or otherwise pester my opponent. The Slave's Darkness Demon Prince, with the fantastic command ability they have to have, run, and charge rolls, really helps out keep my army fairly safe from melee threats. The Bloodthirster of Incessant Rage is a good forward hammer unit to get into melee. I have the Armor of Pact on him to help him stay alive in melee a bit more. Now, there is a very, very good argument to make the Bloodthirster of Incessant Rage the general, so he can have access to the command trait that gives all your units around him a 5-up ward. That's a very powerful ability, and it definitely should be considered, but I like to make my general Be'lakor, so I have access to the Battle Shock ability to bring back units along with the regular demon battle shock on ones, bring back some units. The way I've kind of built this army is very regeneration focused. I like the innate regen from Legions of the First Prince. The demons, if they roll a 1 and they have the banner, they can bring back some units. And I have the Emerald Life Swarm. So really, if you don't take out all of my units in one go, I can bring them back fairly easily. But that is more of a personal choice, and that's kind of how I have spec'd my army to play. The Umbral Spell Portal is mostly there for Kairos to sit back in a safe location and ping off his wonderful spell Gift of Change that does a degrading amount of mortal wounds, starting with a flat 6, and if it kills something, it summons a Chaos Spawn. It's very, very powerful because Kairos can essentially eat and end the spell every turn. So if you want to drop the Emerald Life Swarm and then use its healing and then eat it back up so you can drop it again next turn, or otherwise move your Umbral Spell Portal wherever you need it without spending a spell slot for it. Overall, I have found great success with this army. I think the Bloodletters might be a little bit of a hindrance, but like I said, that is mostly a personal choice. I've seen some arguments for having a Keeper of Secrets or actually a Vermin Lord Corruptor to give the artifact that does 5s to hit, do mortal wounds. Basically, to best use that one, you want something with a lot of attacks so you can get a lot of mortal wounds out, but that's just another way to play this wonderfully flexible army. Before we end this video, I'd like to give an extra special thanks to our Patreon supporters. An extra special thanks to Nick Hoff. You guys are amazing. I don't think I'd be able to continue to upload and expand this channel without you guys' support. So you are greatly appreciated. If you would like to become a Patreon member, or if you would like to join the Discord, there is going to be a link to it in the description below. I would love to see you there. It's a wonderful community and it's been growing great as of late, so I'd love to see you down there. Well, that was a quick little overview of Legions of the First Prince. This is a wonderfully complex army that has a high skill ceiling and a great deal of flexibility. So if that sounds like fun to you, maybe give them a look. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment and consider subscribing. This has been the Wargrove of Woe, and I'll see you guys next time.